from Yoga, NRG and Mindfulness Training Australia, and I'm here with Regan Smith today, who attended our mindfulness-based restorative yoga teacher training. And I'm really inspired with how you made the decision to do the training initially, and your personal and professional reasons for coming along. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that initially to share with everyone.
Absolutely. So I think it was about a year ago that I did it. I think it was January last year. So my story was, well, I did the yoga teacher training level 1 with you 2 years ago now.
Right.
Yep. So that was the power yoga and all that. And then I got sick, as you know. So in November of last year, I had a small brain hemorrhage, and it was something I've always had a weak blood vessel in my head for the last sort of 5 or 6 years. And then it was November that it hemorrhaged, and so I had blood. The problem with it is it was next to the brainstem, so I had blood on my brainstem. I was at one point pretty vegetative, like I couldn't control swallowing, and I couldn't see properly and all that sort of stuff, and it pretty much wiped me out. So it was 4 months that I was spending in bed. I was able to sort of get up and walk and things, but it was basically a 4-month recovery from when that happened. I was basically teaching yoga all the way up until that. I was quite active, like I've been a personal trainer for 10 years, working in fitness, and I've had flare-ups of it before, but it's always been contained. And then this most recent one, so last year, it was, or the year before, it was a hemorrhage, and I had blood on the brainstem, and so it affected how I could move, how I could swallow, talk, all that sort of stuff, and see as well. And so I remember going from that contrast of being a power yoga teacher and a personal trainer and a fitness instructor. I was teaching probably just over 10 classes a week in total between fitness and yoga. I was doing a whole bunch, as well as working in the gym and all that. And then nothing for 4 months, and it was pretty extreme. That was the first I'd experienced something like that, where I was basically bedbound for 4 months, and it was, besides walking, I couldn't really do any, like that exhausted me. And so I had fallen in love with yoga, even though I was predominantly a fitness instructor, predominantly a personal trainer. I only taught a couple of yoga classes a week, but if anyone asked me what I did, I was a yoga instructor, because that was what I loved the most, and that was what I've always been most passionate about. And then as I sort of started to recover, I'll never forget, I really wanted to get back on my feet, first of all, but I'll never forget, like, people, when they found out and all that sort of stuff, like that must have been difficult, that must have been hard, being bedbound in terms of the not moving and all that sort of stuff. And I was lucky, like the reason I came to yoga first of all was because I was interested in the meditation side, and I'd already been meditating for a couple of years and was interested in a lot of that, the Eastern religion and mindfulness aspects. And yours, NRG, was the first studio that I went to that had such a big emphasis on that. And so after doing the yoga teacher training, that's the element of yoga that I think I fell in love with the most. When the body's at rest, it's easier for the mind to be at rest. When you think of any time you're in pain or in sickness, it's very difficult to relax because of the physical body is uncomfortable. And so the idea of the difference with that mindfulness restorative yoga is we've got bolsters, we've got pillows, we've got blankets, we've got whatever tools you need. The idea is not to stretch, not to hold in strength and ease or anything like that. It's your body is completely relaxed, and when the body is relaxed, it's easier for the mind to relax.
What do you think for you and what you've noticed in your students, regardless of whether you're teaching a restorative form of asana, of yoga, or power yoga, what do you think the fear is or the resistance is to resting and doing nothing?
Not being friends with yourself. not being your own good company. That's one thing I've noticed is in myself, I've been very lucky. Well, not lucky to start with. I used to just have this super active mind, crazy, and trying to control it and trying to control everything. That was my big thing in like my early 20s and teens and things, was controlling what I do and how I do it and all that sort of stuff. And then when I got into meditation, from about 25, 26, I just became my own best friend. You know, like it can, in terms of my thoughts and things, that inner chatter stopped being so harsh or, you know, not good enough or negative or all that sort of stuff, where it was just, and I find, you know, and then you see it convey out towards other people, you know, you just become a kinder person to others as well. But from 25 to 26, I was able to be alone by myself and not be actively distracted, whereas I know that when I first got into meditation, I could only do it if there was a practitioner. I remember going to a studio in West End in Brisbane, and it was at 1 hour a week, and I couldn't wait to get back there. Luckily, I was able to go on YouTube then and learn that. But I remember if I didn't listen to, say, a Dharma talk or a meditation or something like that, I would just chatter myself into just craziness, because I was telling myself what to do. You know, like it was, all right, relax. And that comes back to embodying relaxation and letting go. If you're telling yourself, let go or relax, you couldn't be further from it. I think that's the biggest element. And I see that in other people. If you can have a fear of your own mind, you can have a fear of, like, another Zen story is that one where, you know, if your friend called you up and said, hey, we're going to go to coffee, but we're going to go to the place that I want to go to, we're going to do the things that I want to do and drink the coffee, and we're talking about what I want to talk about, how long are you going to be friends with that person? If that's the person that calls you up to hang out with you, you're going to make an excuse like, I got a dentist appointment, or, you know, I can't make coffee today. And it's the same as, that's the analogy that I use for why we don't stop and be still, is because we lay down and the voice in our head says, but you should be doing this and you haven't done that, and you've got to be relaxing and you've got to be calm, and who wants to be with that mind? So we say, right, I'll go watch TV, or I'll listen to music, or I'll call up someone to do something, or go drinking, or whatever. It's that idea of, we don't want to, if we lay still, we don't want to listen to what the voice in our head has to say.